Howdy. And do you ever see a game that just makes you wanna... That's exactly how I was with a certain game known as The Outer Worlds. But I'm also what is known as a... Because when this game came out, I played it for approximately a couple of hours, then moved on to other things for reasons unknown. Now that I have fully beaten the game in both of the DLCs, I would love to go back in time and do this. Because, holy crap, this game rocks hard. The Outer Worlds is a game developed by Obsidian, the same people who made New Vegas, in case you didn't have a reason to love them enough. And the Outer Worlds is basically not Fallout, because if I take my glasses off and squint, it suddenly looks like I'm playing Fallout 4 with a bunch of visual mods to make it brighter. And boy does it also play a lot like a Fallout. That may sound like a bad thing, saying something is just similar to something else that's more popular, but it's not. Because this game basically seen a lot of the stuff that people disliked about Fallout 4 and responded with a small chuckle under their breath and pulling out a shining star to hold high for all RPG lovers to witness. But it also has cracks in some areas, so the shininess stops sometimes. We will get to that, but for now, how about we get into a lot about what the Outer Worlds actually is, starting with the setting and the story. Now this game takes place in everyone's worst nightmare, an entire star system owned by corporations, which means almost every living person is a walking advertisement, who will pitch their company's speech to you even on their deathbed.
All Spacer's Choice weapons are now 30% less likely to malfunction. You've tried the best, now try the rest. Spacer's Choice. Yes, nailed it that time.
This is like one of the first scenes in the game. See, on paper, this sounds like the kind of idea that will leave you just like this. But in reality, it makes some of the funniest crap I have seen in a while. One of my personal favorites being this poor soul who has to wear this mascot uniform at all times, and he has lost grip on reality.
My job. It may not seem like much to a brave space captain, but they're all that I have. If there are self-made purgatories, then we all have to live in them. Mine can be no worse than someone else's. Now, if we're done with the chit-chat, I hope you don't mind if I make the most of this short life and try to be the best moon person I can be.
It really is such a unique setting and a great environment for a game where you can kill almost any NPC. Look at these guys, mind controlled by bugs from the company, and yet most of them are okay with it, because it's for the good of the company. Imagine the huge Wakanda Forever scene from Marvel, but replace T'Challa with the soulless Brand in the army with a bunch of really sad and hungry people, and there you go, welcome to the Outer Worlds. Dedicated to their overlord's cause at all times. Anyways, this game picks up with you being unthawed from hypersleep by the cousin of the Doc. So you were frozen in time for way longer than you should have been. You were a member of this massive ship called the Hope. Foreshadowing. And on this ship is the best and brightest the galaxy has to offer. But they're stuck with you now, because the Doc only had enough chemicals to unthaw one person, so the Doc might have had a few screw loose if you decide to go full homicide. Anyways, you go on a journey across the universe and find the stuff needed in order to thaw out the rest of the Hope, and help save this corporate crap hole from its inevitable doom, since, like I said before, the Hope has the minds needed to fix all this. Because a star system surviving off of the farts of giant conglomerates is going about as well as you'd think. In order to do this, you would travel to tons of awesome looking locations, kill tons of bandits and animals, do a mountain of quests, and recruit a ragtag group of delinquents who no one else wanted. Overall, this is a dope setting, a really fresh feeling idea. However, the main mission can sometimes feel a bit like a backseat to the setting though. Like, yeah, you want to do the main mission in order to visit new locations and do these incredible side quests and such, but the main mission itself feels a bit disconnected, mainly because it's hard to get invested to a bunch of popsicles you have never seen before. Compare this to like New Vegas, where you want to find the prick who shot you in the head, or Fallout 4, where you want to find the prick who shot your wife in the head and took your son. These are great incentives to get you to do a murder so big it could fill a coliseum, but in the Outer Worlds, it's just told to you what's going on, and you're left to your own devices. But see, where the main story may fumble a bit, the side missions and planet missions pick up the pace and some. Each planet you visit is going through its own crisis of some kind. Like when I'm editing up late at night and I run out of snacks. Whether that be a split in leadership completely splitting an entire planet's community, or a planet that is on the brink of starvation, or the DLC quests, which rock so hard that I ignored every other mission when I started the DLC so I could blaze right through them because they were just that fun. All the planet's missions feel self-contained in a good way compared to the main story. Oh, did you completely ruin this entire planet? And now they are all going to starve? And they ran you off the planet the best they could considering they are now just walking skeleton people? Well, that's fine, that's fine. This other planet way over here doesn't even know who you are. And you can find a new creative way to destroy this one's economy as well. My favorites were the Gorgon quests from the DLC and the Murder Mystery, which was the other DLC, funny enough. These were very self-contained, like I've said before, and they felt super interesting the whole way through. Gorgon starts off a little bit slow, but it picks up, and you go to this abandoned planet, leading you to discover these deep, dark secrets one of the corporations is keeping secret. And the Murder Mystery focusing on the death of a massive celebrity, and you get to unravel her really sketchy past leading up to her death. Others are the first planet you visit being split into two rival communities, or Monarch, which is a planet cut off from the corporations so you can see what happens to a planet when these big corporations just decide to leave them to their own devices. These are incredible, and this game has something most other RPGs don't, an epilogue. Yup, you get a massive video at the end telling you the results of all of your decisions. And I always play the Boy Scout good boy personally, so I think I got an amazing ending since I'm just a do-gooder who just helps everybody. But if you prefer the term, there will be no witnesses to your crimes, if you murder all the witnesses, I'm sure you will get a much different outcome. Even tells you what your teammates got up to after those credits roll. Again, thank you so much for this, Obsidian. And this all works great because the dialogue is some of the best I have ever experienced in any game, period. And that is some statement, let me tell you that. From a guy who has heard Heimskr screaming at the top of his lungs for years straight now. See, I built my character to have a golden tongue, and I got to talk myself out of so many situations that other games feel very shallow in comparison. I didn't even have to fight any final boss. I just convinced a big bad girl that my revolution was a just one, and she was a stupid dumb doo-doo head. She agreed and ran away. That was one of my favorite moments of the entire game. That is one of tons of examples of my character tilting down his sunglasses and throwing out some critical hits using his words. I adored this so much because every time in a game I can build charisma, I always do. Since in real life, if a person simply says hi to me, I'll react like this. Convincing guards to give me their ID so I can sneak around, or getting greedy people to give me their passwords so I can log into their computers and take all their crap. I have never felt this in control of dialogue in a very long time, and now I'm really overly cocky in real life because of this. And I tried this on my wife to get this overly expensive collectible. She disagreed. But when my words weren't enough, I could always fall back on killing people. That's the natural progression of things, right? Anyways, time for the combat. It is the most fine combat ever. It is fine. This is one of those cracks in the glowing star. Because I mean, yeah, it's fun, I enjoyed it, but this is certainly one of the last things I think of when I reminisce about this game. It's an FPS game, where you can activate your teammates' abilities to help you rather than doing anything cool yourself, which is really disappointing. I mean, you can slow down time, since they couldn't just throw VATS in here, and this is apparently the result of being in cryo sleep for too long, apparently.
What am I supposed to do with this?
I already told you, if you freeze me, I'm gonna get really cool powers. It feels awesome to pull off some cool stuff in slow-mo, don't get me wrong, but we have seen this stuff so many times and so much better. This really left a lot to be desired for me. I mean, I went full pistol build other than my golden tongue and destroyed the entire game since ammo is plentiful. A small jar gives you enough ammo to level an entire city block. And as you level up, of course, you will get skill points, and you can throw them in these categories, which actually levels up 3 different things up to level 50. And then after level 50, it's individual up to level 130. Now I liked this a bit because it made the game feel much more streamlined, but I also disliked this a little bit because it felt really hand-holdy at the start, feeling like I was just leveling everything up great altogether where I felt like there was no build variety. But after you get past the shackles of level 50, you can really see the build variety start to come in there. But there's also this perk system, which you will get every 2 levels, where you can select a unique attribute such as a passive ability or boosts. And I, of course, put them all into making my teammates walking murder machines because because their team abilities are so overpowered that I just looked and clicked a button and the game beat itself. And they are stupidly overpowered. And their perks are obviously oriented around them for the most part, but just put it into their team ability because they're so stupidly strong, and you can make it where it resets itself and its cooldown is extremely small, and you can just mash their team abilities and they just kill everything. Oh yeah, your teammates. You can bring 2 of them with you when you adventure, and the rest of your teammates just sit on the ship, and yep, they're great. I fell in love with 2 of them in particular, so I ran with them the entire game, so I can't talk much about the other ones. But Parvati is the most innocent soul in the world. She loves everyone and wants people to just be happy and safe, but her ability is this. And then there's Max, who acts super high and noble. He's a man of science and is extremely intelligent. Only to do crap like this sometimes, it just makes me fall in love with him even more.
My goodwill's exhausted, along with my temper. This is the guy who told me about the book while we were in prison. I lied about finding a scholar. But I don't care about any of that anymore. I just want to inflict massive amounts of pain on this guy.
I fell in love with these guys, and the game would not have been the same without their constant banter and dialogue, or just running around. They will chime in constantly in dialogue, which just makes the dialogue flow that much smoother. The teammates are another massive highlight in this game for me. They each have their own quest line too. So yeah, the combat left me wanting more, but the teammates are dope and made it feel way more alive, that's for sure. Now the loot in this game is a bit underwhelming, since so much of it looks identical, and you will not be changing gear often. I did not change gear very often at all in this game. You know. The unique guns are pretty dope though, like the science weapons. Some are really hard to get, like the one I had to use my golden tongue for. You can upgrade weapons and add very simple mods to them for further customization, but it did feel like something just tacked on at the end, to be honest with you. And I know I've been kind of being mean to the game a little bit here and there, but that's just because Outer Worlds is one of the best RPGs I have played in years. I honestly think that. But it does have a few poo stains, like the ones I mentioned. I just like to make sure you guys are fully informed before you go buying a game I recommend. I don't want people spending money on a game I recommend unless I tell them everything about it. The Outer Worlds is incredible. I absolutely loved it, but I am going to mention some stuff I didn't like about it. But those shortcomings, like the combat being a little bit hit or miss, and you know, stuff like that, those are just pale in comparison to the amazingness surrounding it. It is one of my favorite RPGs in recent years, easily. This is a game I'm going to be coming back to every now and again to play through it once I start to forget what happens in the story here and there, so I can experience it a little bit fresh, you know what I mean? Play this game, man. It is shorter than anything like a Bethesda game, but that's mainly because it streamlines a lot of stuff. Small maps with way more waypoints, but the maps are really well designed and look beautiful. Quicker leveling so you don't have to go grinding everywhere, and you don't feel under-leveled because you level up pretty fast if you do a little bit of side quests here and there. It's basically an RPG with the annoying stuff we hate taken out, and I couldn't be happier with that. I recommend give yourself a golden tongue. If you give yourself a golden tongue, you're going to have a much happier time with this game because the dialogue is a massive part of it. The dialogue is such a massive part of the Outer Worlds, it really feels like it's kind of formed its own sort of, category with that. The sequel is on the way and I cannot wait for it. You will not regret playing it. Anyways, thanks guys. See ya.